What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Breaking Boundaries. We got my friend Connor here, longtime friend, man. How you doing, bro?
Good, bro. Just another day.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great to, reconnect and, excited to have a great conversation.
Yeah, dude. And Merry Christmas, you guys. This episode's coming out on Christmas. Got my good friend Connor here. We've been friends for, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
15 years or something like that.
Yeah.
What are you, 30? What are you now?
Just hit 31 in September.
Just hit 31. So yeah, I must have met you like when you were 20 or whatnot, man. We've been through some crazy shit, bro. I'm super proud of you, dude, man. You're doing amazing stuff. And so you started a cleaning business, right?
Yeah. So started a cleaning company, 4 years ago, right at the heel end of the COVID there. I refused the vaccination. It was I don't want to get too political or anything of that nature, but long story short, they let me go from my job and I got a big severance check. So I started an Amazon FBA store. That didn't work out. And I knew I didn't want to go back to work. So I took another year off, trying to figure it out. And I started a house cleaning company. Like, what's the dirtiest thing nobody would want to do? And it ended up working out, Fast forward, 3 years later, and I'm able to, sustain a decent lifestyle from it and not have to go back to a regular job. Yeah.
But it's about that freedom, dude, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the money, dude. It's about the fucking freedom, because we like to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You make music, I have my podcast, man, and it's about the freedom. Yeah, man. And you don't get that any other way. Giovanni, my son, of course, he's he loves going to the gym and doing all the shit that we do. And then, I kept telling him, like, and he wants things now. So he wants money. So he goes and he gets 2 jobs, dude. Yeah. And he's working, it's his first week. He's working 35 hours and we're at the fucking gym and he's like, man, I gotta go work. He goes, I gotta figure something else out, dude. He goes, fuck this. You know what I mean? Cause it's true, bro, because God did not make us to fucking work like slaves, to hate our fucking job, and to grow a whole life doing that. Yeah. To wait for fucking retirement, and then once we retire, to sit around and watch TV and wait to fucking die.
Absolutely, man. It's like, knowing the feeling of having to commute to Los Angeles and every single day you're thinking, man, I can't wait till I hit the weekend. And then Saturday, you're just recovering from the work week. Then Sunday comes and you finally feel like yourself again. Then Monday, it's back to the rat race. So I feel like just having that sense of just mental freedom and the ability to formulate a thought without like this, crunching pressure of a job is a huge privilege, and not something that people should have to wait until they're 50 years old. I talk to people who are 50, like, oh, I just, I took this great vacation and, I just retired. And I'm like thinking in my mind, I'm like, you're just living your life right now. It's crazy,
50, dude.
And I'm like 31 and I'm feeling like I can pretty much do what I want. Now I'm not like a billionaire or anything of that nature, not like a super yacht or anything of that nature, but I have the freedom to do what I want and enough money to pretty much do whatever I want, which is huge. And you're not 50 years old, and it allows you. And I think another thing that this pressure and stress of having a job does is it crushes your creativity. It crushes who you are as a human being, and you lose yourself. You lose yourself to the rat race, and it starts to negatively impact not just your life, but your relationships, your health, and everything starts to decline because you're losing that sense of self. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. And it's not just that you have the money to do what you want, but you have the time,
right?
Because time is money. Mm-hmm. Right. And you start seeing how valuable fucking time is. Because here's these dudes, when they're 50 and 60, their life's gone. They're out of shape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go to work, and not only that, but I think working a job creates addiction.
Right.
Because you want to go home and you want to forget about your day. You start drinking, you do drugs or whatnot, or same thing. I can't wait. We get off work and then we eat a bunch of shitty food. We drink a bunch of fucking alcohol and complain about our job.
Yeah.
Right. We can't wait till the weekend. We party. We spend all our check. You know what I mean? And then here comes Monday. What a fucking miserable life to live, man. And I don't see like I'm better than anybody, but I look at other people's lives when I see them and I'm just like, dude, how can you live like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you want more? But here's the thing, brother, is that they don't believe they can have more. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It starts with the belief system, because see, we're programmed from birth. Here's how it goes. You grow up from birth, mom and dad start telling you, no, you can't do this. They start putting all the doubts in your belief system, right? Because when you're a child, you're 5 years old, you'll just go fly off the couch, or you'll just this or that, or you have this imagination. And so society starts putting all this doubt in your head that things aren't possible.
Right.
And then your life is formed because of it. So Okay, my uncles, my cousins, everybody, they went to college, they got a fucking job, they bought a house, they retired, SSI, this or that, right? So because that's what's in your vicinity, that's your subconscious mind that's been programmed now. So that's the only thing that you believe you can do, because everything that you see, that's how it is, right?
Right.
So here's the thing with kids that are millionaires, right? Or their parents are millionaires. They're not just successful because their parents gave them millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because their environment made it look like it was easy. So therefore it was easy for them.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? It just depends on your environment. So the important thing is, if you want to get out of this poverty fucking mindset, the first step, in my opinion, would be change your surroundings.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't go hang out at Starbucks to get a cup of coffee. I'll go to a fancy coffee place in LA, man, and hang out there. Because then you start seeing people, they got a nice watch, they have these things. And when you're around those type of people, you say, well, how can I get that? And the belief system starts to build. But when our environment is a bunch of people doing shit with their lives, having negative conversations, you know, complaining about the fucking news and the gas prices, you know, that's what you're going to fucking get, right?
Yeah.
Because the things that we're listening to and speaking are creating our fucking reality. Do you agree?
Absolutely. 1,000%. And talking about the people we have in our lives, like we can talk about our life partners as well, and the females that we bring in our lives and the things and the chaos those can attract. And a lot of men, they work so hard to finally have a pretty girl look in their direction. And what happens? Their whole life gets hijacked, and then they keep working and working and working to retain her. And what happens? The more time and energy we spend chasing that female, the less and less we're gaining ourselves, and eventually they'll leave you. And that's the other thing that begins to happen in these toxic relationships. Because of the rat race, in my opinion, because you're spending so much time just focusing to get things that you don't really have to begin with. The only way you can sustain maybe a toxic relationship is to continue to work, because she's taking and taking from you. And as soon as you stop working, what? You stop providing and making resources, and she's gone, right? And as soon as you stop working, you lose the house. But that's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur. Yes, we have to continue working at different things like that, but we don't have to go punch the clock 5 days a week. Yeah. And we can continue to have a healthier lifestyle. And, you know, and you remember, Melissa, you remember when I was, I think 22, and I was over at your house and I say, Carlo, I'm with this beautiful girl, and you've commented about, oh, she's like the Game of Thrones chick. She looks like Khaleesi. And I was she was like heroin to me.
Yes.
I could not live without her. And I remember, so I was with her for a year and a half, and then year and a half mark, she was gone for a week, and I had access to her email, and I looked through her email and I said, what's this plane ticket to Miami? And lo and behold, I find out when she comes back, she had met some dude on Seeking Arrangements, and he was paying to have sex with her, and he flew her out to Miami. And at the time, that like shattered my whole world, my whole perspective. Like, oh, this person that loves me, this person that cares about me, has completely betrayed me. And I almost went through like a whole detox period where almost 6 months she was still seeing me. We were still trying to make it work, but really what she was doing was giving me the slow no. And I physically was going through a withdrawal period, and I had to overcome that. And at the time, I was working, you know, not a very good job. I wasn't making a lot of money. And you could tell, even as a 19-year-old girl, she wanted something more. So she wanted, now I'm not saying that she's capable of sustaining even a healthy relationship, but at the time, that was a huge motivator for me to go and be something more, to go and do something. Because it's one thing to attract a beautiful girl, but to keep a beautiful woman who has standards and respect for herself, you also have to be, there yourself, as in a nutshell. And I think that's what a lot of men don't understand. Like, if you spend your whole life chasing this female and putting everything to her, she's never going to stay. But if you're strong yourself, you got this, and you have a nice foundation, she's always going to stay, because the mountain doesn't chase the wind, you know, and females are like the wind. We're the mountain. The wind comes to the mountain. They can go and do as they please. We're not going to be emotionally perturbed. We won't be moved by their attitudes, their emotions. We have to be strong in ourselves.
Yes, I love that, man. And let me just touch base on that, but I want to go down that rabbit hole about women in society today. Definitely. The thing is that what we do is we look for outside things in order to fulfill ourselves.
Yeah.
The pretty girl, the money, the car, all those things, we look outside of ourselves. And I've done it, and what I call that is manifesting out of ego. Okay, and then when we get there, we're not fucking happy. We're still looking for stuff outside of ourselves to judge our self-worth.
Right.
So if we go and do the internal work, right? If we go and do the internal work, kind of what you were saying about building a foundation with self, being happy with self, right? And we do that work first, and then we start attracting those things in our life. Then we're happy with them, and then they stay as well.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but I get what you're saying. And again, it's because we identify with these things, brother. We identify with our house, our car, and our girl, and what other people think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So it's about having that self-worth first. And then we don't have, so Melissa, she left you. Now you, not only was she a drug and a heroin, you know, it was like heroin, right? But also you identified yourself as being with her.
Yes, absolutely.
Just as I'm telling some people in Collective Consciousness, my men's support group, I've always been a good father. I took pride in being a good father, right? And so many, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but so many men do. And so I would fuck off things like my business or myself and put my children first. Because as long as I could go around and say I'm a good father, right, then I'm good. I did my thing on this earth, right? Yeah. But I am capable of way much more, right? And I'm also hiding in that, okay? You know what I'm saying? I'm hiding in it. Well, at least I did that today. You know what I mean? So who cares that I fucked everything else off, right? But me as a man on this earth, I believe I have a much bigger purpose than just being a good father. Also, what happens is the kids grow up and then you're lost. Yeah. You're lost in your identity. Your girlfriend leaves you. You're lost in your identity. Yeah. Because you keep identifying with things outside of yourself. Yeah. So if you just go inside and you do the internal work first, then you can be fucking whole, because there's nowhere to look for satisfaction. You just have to look within. And I think that definitely it starts with loving yourself, dude. Mm-hmm. If you can't fucking love yourself, how can anybody else love you? Yes. You know what I'm saying?
1000%.
It's attraction, man. I gotta love myself with all my faults, with all my fucking mistakes, with who I am today. Okay, I love me, now I can change.
1000%.
Right?
And I feel a part of loving yourself is striving to be the best version of yourself. So if if you're 350 pounds, you're drinking and you're smoking every day, you're having health complications and you hate your life, you're not loving yourself. If you look in the mirror 100 times a day and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, but you're not taking the steps to somebody who actually loves themselves, that's fake. And I believe that God will meet us halfway. Mm-hmm. God isn't going to do the work for you. If you love yourself, you must meet God halfway. Show him that you love yourself. And then he will bestow his blessings onto you. But if you're going to have this victim complex, this victim mentality that, I'm just going to sit and think happy things and take no action. Well, that's not how it works. You have to take action. You have to take the doors as soon as they open ourselves. And I 100% believe that God meets us halfway, but he doesn't do the work for us. And part of loving ourselves is trying to be the best versions of ourselves. And our versions of ourselves, it's not just your weight. Because I see guys in the Muay Thai community, I see guys in the gym that are in there 6-7 days a week, working their asses off to be huge and jacked. But then you talk to them about their life, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm living with my mom," and they have really horrible relationships, or they have literally nothing else going on but Muay Thai or the gym. Like you can't hide behind the gym. You can't hide behind your relationship. The pillars of our life are health, wealth, romance, right? And all these things have to be in line, and that is self. Now I understand we have to go internally, we have to truly love ourselves at our core, but you can't say you love yourself and then your actions and everything that happens around you is not a reflection of that.
Dude, I love that, man. Absolutely, bro. And there's a friend of mine, and he has this chart, and it's this chart. It's like it's an old Indian technique, but it has like spiritual, physical, emotional, educational. Right. And these all things have to align in a perfect balance to be whole. But I love what you said about God, because there's so many things out there about manifesting and not having to work for things or this or that. And another thing, just like you said, like loving your body, what you're intaking in your body, what you're feeding, what you're speaking, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody says to go and help somebody else to feel better, right? But that's still putting a Band-Aid on something.
Yes.
I understand it's good to help people. It's good to go to church, to read these books, to watch these podcasts and do all that shit, right? But a fucking dream with no action, dude, is just a fucking dream.
And sometimes you have to put away the schemes. You have to put away the books, put away the self-help, and drop the bullshit and look and say, today is the day I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to quit my job or I'm going to break up with my girlfriend or anything of that nature or whatever it is holding you back. Now, if it's something severe, like, yes, I'm a full-blown, drug addict, I'm an alcoholic, take that step, go to that rehab, do what it is that's hindering you. And a lot of things, the things that we're actively doing, like searching for a new job, that's important, but we also have to cut away the things that are like lead weights around our feet, pulling us to the bottom of the ocean. Because you could be fighting so hard in the upward direction, but if you have something that's holding you back, you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
So if you're, for example, like if you have a partner who's actively involved in addiction, how do you think you're going to stop your addiction? You can't just say, I'm going to stop my addiction and eventually, they're going to stop as well. It's like, no, you have to cut the weight if they're not willing to rise to your level and and then you can strive to be the best version of yourself. So part of us, part of I call it my ascension, evolving myself as, spiritually as a human being is cutting away, the piece of shit friends that are holding you back. Also cutting away, like you've mentioned this in the past, the naysayers, the people that are negative, that really aren't in your corner, because people will smile and look in your direction and see, clap their hands and say, yeah, you got this, I'm for your team. But really, they don't want to see you win. They really don't. And so it's really good to surround ourselves with people who genuinely care about us. And the truth is, most people are genuinely not going to give a shit about us.
Yeah.
And we have to choose those people that care enough to be there. When we call, are they going to answer the phone? Are they really going to be there? Are they, when we come to them with an incredible idea, are they going to place a seed of doubt in our mind?
Yeah.
Or are they going to give us, energy and, congratulations. Oh, that's a great idea, man. Go ahead and pursue that idea, because I'm sure you guys have all had this before. You have an incredible idea. You're super excited about it, but then you share it with somebody and they start planting a seed of doubt. And what does that do? You start to doubt yourself because your idea was not strong enough in your mind. Your sense of worth wasn't strong enough. So you shouldn't have shared that idea. And some religions will call it what we call the evil eye. We don't want to share our ideas with somebody who's going to give us the evil eye, because they can start to manifest doubt against us. And if we're not strong in our idea and strong in ourselves, that's a very dangerous path. An idea is like a wildfire, just like, Inception, it can spread and it can kill us.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely being careful about what you tell it. But I think it's important too, is picking a spouse. Because, I've been in many relationships, where they broke me down. They broke me down. They didn't like my fucking ideas. They don't want you to fucking succeed.
Yeah.
So I think in picking a woman or picking a man, that it's important that they're building you up. You should definitely be able to tell your spouse. That's a fucking sign. You should be able to tell your spouse your fucking dreams.
Yes.
If you can't tell your own spouse, man, you're in the wrong, because that's what'll hold you back, man. A kingdom can't be built without a queen. Like for it to be fulfilled, it needs to be, you have to have a queen as well, right?
Yes.
And if you can't share your fucking dreams with your woman, and she breaks you down, dude, it's not a healthy relationship, bro.
Yeah, 1,000%. And, that's just a sign of the quality of the partner you're with. And some people, if a woman starts to consistently nag on your dreams and put you down, it could be a notification to yourself that she's losing respect for you, because you've never really been somebody to go after your dreams and do what you're really supposed to be doing as a man. And women, they have a supernatural sense. They know when they're with somebody who's not getting to their potential. And that's the beautiful thing about women. Yes, they're hard and they can do a lot of negative, but they can do a lot of good for us and push us to be the best versions of ourselves. For example, if you're sitting on the couch, eating chips and playing video games every single day after work, and your girlfriend's nagging you and you're saying, oh, just leave me alone. That's not what she's upset about. She's upset about you not striving to your full potential. Now, the other side of that coin, there are just some toxic women that, don't really give a damn. But it's a notification that, hey, maybe I should be striving to do better. And maybe she has an idea of you in her mind that, hey, I believe in this guy. I believe he can do better. And when he's not striving to do that, it might be it could be her idea is not being fulfilled. So that's the other thing too.
Yeah. Have you ever read the book? What's it called?
Who's the author?
It's called, oh my God, I fucking read the book a couple of times. I talked about it a few times on this episode. The Power, fuck. It's about masculine and feminine energy.
Okay.
I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank right now, man. I cannot believe it, dude.
I hear you.
I can't. Fuck, dude. I wish I could remember it. It's crazy, but it's about that, dude. And it's about masculine and feminine energy,
right?
And that's the problem. And I truly believe, like, okay, in a relationship, for one, you're gonna attract what you are.
Yeah,
it's just a fucking fact, dude.
Yeah.
If your woman's fucked up, it's because you haven't done some inner work, man. You're gonna attract what you are.
Yeah.
But it's about masculine and feminine energy. Now, we are the leaders. Mm-hmm. Right. So even if my fucking girl, I know this is harsh, you guys. Yeah. But even if my woman fucking cheats on me, there's something that I'm not in my masculine energy because I am the fucking leader. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Even from just picking her.
Yeah.
I didn't pick her from a masculine spot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when my woman cheats on me, bro, there's something that I fucking didn't do. Yeah. I'm in charge here. You know what I mean? And so in the book as well, it talks about, women just want to feel safe. Right. So it uses this example where, he comes home or the wife asks the man to clean the garage out, right, this Saturday.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, he's going to do it. Right. And then Saturday comes along and then he's sitting on the couch eating fucking chips, watching the football game. Right. She said, what about the garage? And he goes, oh, no, I'm going to go play golf. Right. So there right away, she starts not feeling safe. Right. And her masculine energy starts coming out. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like we're definitely the leaders, bro. And it is definitely up to us to stay in our masculine energy so that women can stay in their feminine. Now, I'm not going into this whole fucking because all these boss babes out there want to talk about, oh, I want to be masculine at work and I want to come home to a man, and then I'll be in my feminine. That shit doesn't work. That shit's bullshit, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're either fucking one or the other,
Yeah.
So all these women are like, I need to find a man that can handle me. I don't want somebody I got to fucking handle.
Yeah.
Why the fuck why would I want to come home? All this shit men go through, dude, especially being entrepreneurs and responsible for many others and fathers and everything else. I sure as hell don't want to come home to a woman that I got to put up with, dude, that I have to handle.
Yeah.
I need peace, dude. Yeah. I want peace.
1,000%.
I want a hot fucking meal.
Yeah.
I want a clean home.
Yeah.
And women, and especially these Western women want to say, oh, you just want a fucking slave. No, I just want to be nurtured, man.
1,000%.
I might be a grown masculine man, right? But still, at the end of the day, we just want to be nurtured.
Yeah.
And women in their happy, joyous place is when they're being nurturers. Mm-hmm. They fight this shit so much to be a boss babe and to be all these fucking things when your normal, natural, feminine state is nurturing. Why do you think fucking women love dogs so much?
Yeah.
Everybody's into dogs because their natural state is nurturing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so that's why they fucking love animals.
Yes.
But again, these days, they don't even want to have babies because they're fucking lazy.
Yes.
So they'd rather nurture a fucking animal.
Yeah.
But that's they don't even fucking understand it, dude. Yeah. They don't even know.
And there's a famous study that was published about when a woman is nurturing and she's taking care of something, more dopamine is actually being released into her brain. And so if you look from a biological standpoint, when you're in a nurturing, you're in a maternal state of mind, your body and your mind is being rewarded. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way of being, and not every woman should be that. But 1,000%, I think we've been biologically wired that way. And when you have a woman, in the 1950s, it was a whole agenda to put women into the workforce, the whole industrialization of the United States, and the 40-hour work week, 5 days a week, and how can we divide the family, and how can we get more active taxpayers? So it's this whole operation that's saying, hey, now we have twice as many taxpayers, we have twice as many people in the workplace. We have the government raising our children and planting ideas, making more little good workers to put into the workforce. And it all starts with the division of the family, putting women into the workforce. When you rewind, not even like less than 100 years ago, women were at home, and if you look at just the divorce rate in itself, it was crazy. Now the divorce rate is over 50%. 80% of all divorces are instigated by women. That's a statistical fact that's irrefutable. And because women, even their men will work, but the respect level is less and less and less as we move towards this Western colonization of thought, mind, and body. But I say this to my girlfriend now, like, you don't have to love me. You can hate me, but you got to respect me.
Yeah.
And I don't care. And, so you don't always need to be loving and sweet and kind, but you must respect me. So yeah, you have to be home at a certain time. And I expect certain things, but I'm also taking care of the rent and I'm also providing this, but it's not a financial transaction. It's a lot more than that. It's a sign of respect. And this is just the way things are. And when she's in pocket and she's falling in line, and she has to be willing to do what you say without a question. If there's always argument, like, no, there's a leader in the relationship, and we can't have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. There's only one chief here. And so that's another thing. Like, you got to have your shit together for her to follow your lead and respect you. But if you do have your shit together and she's still coming home late, she's not respecting you, she's mouthing back, and she's just, doing all the things that are, just signs of respect. Well, it might be time to get a new one, or you might need to sit her down and have a serious conversation. I've had to do that too. Sometimes she'll come home for work and she'll mouth off to me and it just starts to ruin my mood. And she starts to become super, super argumentative. And I sit her down. I said, hey, this isn't working. I don't appreciate this. When you do that, it makes me feel like you don't respect me. That's not okay. Please stop. Now, if you've had that conversation with her several times and she's not willing to follow suit, now we have a problem. But if she does, go ahead and she listens to your criticism, she goes, oh, I understand. Okay. I didn't realize I was getting that way. And sometimes this happens a lot in relationships. We can start to get into arguments with our spouses, and you just have the first couple of arguments, but they start to snowball into an everyday type of thing. And that creates a pattern. But if you recognize the pattern, hey, I can break this pattern. I can break the pattern. And if a person's willing and open to your criticism, we can break patterns and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, man. And that's part when they argue with you and they start talking, that's part of like demasculating you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they don't fucking understand that, bro. Yeah. I seen this at my son's soccer game, and this father and this wife, and she told him to fucking sit down. You're not the coach. Yeah. Like yelling at him, right? And there was another, like every soccer game, she would like loudly demasculate him. Oh man. And I would see the guy smile, and go sit back down and make a joke out of it. But that is in his fucking head. When it's time to have sex tonight, he don't want to have sex with you. Yeah. He might have smiled and laughed that off, but no, I'm telling you from experience, bro, from being with a woman, who demasculated me, the fuck out of me, you know what I mean? Constantly, bro. And then they wonder why you don't want to have sex with them, bro. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? And women are constantly doing everything. And it's just so fucking ugly, bro.
Yeah.
They're just, Western women have been so fucking ugly. And I'm watching this stuff online. It was the other day, man. I was just, the algorithm starts going and it's about women and they're, guys aren't buying them drinks anymore at the fucking bars. And it's about, they're going to the dating, speed dating or whatever, where they all meet up and there's no fucking men there. Men aren't even showing up anymore, bro. Because we're done with it. Yeah. We're done with it, dude. You know what I'm saying? We are, bro. It's like, no, they don't even fucking, you can't even go hit on them without getting fucking some sexual harassment. You know what I mean? They're not even smiling at you. My friend of mine went to Europe and he was saying how these beautiful women are smiling at him and having normal conversations with them like a normal person. Yeah. A girl here won't even smile. How do you even want to go up and talk to them? You know what I mean? So this whole Western and passport bros, dude, and then they want to talk shit. Oh, you're going to another country because you can't get a woman here. I don't want a fucking woman here, dude. And I'm not saying it's all women, dude. And I'm sure there's some great women out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But fucking majority of these days, and they don't understand. Here's the thing, dude. You fucking cook for me and clean my house, I will do anything for you. Yeah. I'm a simple fucking guy. Yeah. Be nice, be my peace, take care of me, and I will fucking die for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A few fucking simple things, dude, and I will give my fucking life for you.
And don't gain 100 pounds.
And yeah, that's obvious too. But you know what? There's this other video that I've seen too as well. This one girl that I follow, this kind of spiritual leader girl, and she says, if you can't be physically, spiritually, and mentally fit for your spouse, you do not deserve him. Yeah. Right. And here's the thing. I'm not asking for anything that I'm not doing myself.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? We're not, that's the difference between men and women.
Yeah.
I mean, we're asking for fucking, but again, it's still our fault because we pick them.
Yes.
Right. And so the thing is that you'll pick them and you'll ignore a bunch of things, right? Because the sex is good, because they're hot, You know what I mean?
Right.
That's been my life story, right? Is basing my relationship off of sex. So it's kind of good not to have sex, get to know them first a little bit, And another thing is, bro, is every single one, there's another thing, dude. So I've been single for, I don't know, over 4 years, right? And I've dated, but I will not commit until after 3 months. And here's the reason why. A mentor of mine, he's the lead psychologist at Kaiser. I brought this girl over to his house one time. I was dating her for about 2.5 months. I said, oh man, I'm so into her, dude. I think I love her, da, 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 da. He said, well, how long have you been dating her? I said, 2.5 months. He goes, okay, let's talk again in a month. So it's a psychological fact. This isn't just in relationship. This isn't any fucking relationship. But between the 2.5 and the 3.5 month mark is where people get comfortable and the real them start coming out. So now I won't fucking commit to a relationship until after 3 months, dude, till the real them, because they start getting comfortable and the real them come out. But I've also noticed this technique. I've used it in my business with employees. I've watched the same thing. Between 2.5 and 3.5 months, they start becoming comfortable and then problems start occurring.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's important. I mean, the spouse is one of the most important for a man and a woman is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your life because it can either make you or break you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we don't take it serious enough because we're not happy with ourselves. We will go and because we identify, okay, everybody else is a relationship. Well, I don't feel worthy because I'm not in a relationship. Or same thing being a man. Oh, look, I fucked this girl. I fucked that girl. Boom, 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 boom. Again, identifying as a man of what women you can get or what woman you're with. And so when we find peace within ourselves, love ourselves, and are okay with ourselves, we don't have to deal with all that shit.
Yeah.
And the right spouse is going to find us. We're not going to find it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're starting to talk about women and some of the ideas that this Western culture has instilled in them, it's not necessarily that we want a slave to be in the house. That's not the point of this. It's not about having a slave, but it's about having somebody that genuinely cares. And a lot of women, like you were mentioning, they want to be paid to literally exist. They want to be paid to exist. Buy me this, take me to this, do this for me, but have absolutely nothing in return and do nothing in return. And yes, you being beautiful does give you certain privileges in your mind that might be enough for now, but in the long run, if you're really looking for a long-term committed relationship, it's a fundamental flaw. If that's the only thing you have in your mind that you bring to the table, that's a serious problem. And when we look outside of the United States, these women and even a lot of the men will grow up with different principles, a sense of family, a sense of belonging. Marriage isn't nearly as high in a lot of the countries like the Philippines, for example. Marriage doesn't even exist. It takes 7 years to get an annulment. And if you cheat on your spouse and you're caught, it's a felony. Yeah. Actually, cheating in a marriage is actually a felony, and you can do over a year in prison in the Philippines. So it's very, very serious. But here it's completely normal. It's become normalized to cheat on your spouse. And so it's principles that we grow up with. A lot of times will define, how we start to interact in our adult lives, which is pretty significant.
Well, you see how this country like breaks us down? We're supposed to be the freest country in the world.
Yeah.
We're the most enslaved. Mm-hmm. We're the only that enslaves their own people, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I don't want to get too much into slavery, but you can look at some people who had like jobs now. If you look at some of the slavers were getting treated by some people who are in their jobs now. And I want to make this a race thing, but this is a fact. And some slaves would, have the weekends off. And they actually had spending money and they had things in this nature. But you have some people that literally live in squalor and poverty to go work their miserable jobs 6-7 days a week. And they're hating their lives. In one sense, I'd almost rather be a slave.
Right.
And so what they've done is they've convinced us that the modern day working man is essentially the new slave for Uncle Sam. That's what you are. You're a slave. You may think you get to choose what you do every day, but you don't. You have to go to your shitty job because if you don't, you're homeless. And if you don't go to your shitty job, you can't literally get anything or be anything in our society. So it's been a lot of brainwashing. They've convinced us that that they give us essentially a pile of shit and they call it caviar.
Yeah.
And we've the whole world, the whole Western world is bought into that philosophy. And that's why we have, one of the shortest lifespans on the planet. The average doctor in the United States lives 65 years old. Our healthcare system is completely broken. We think if we don't get, 20 vaccinations a year, then we're not being healthy. And I know a lot of the talk now is people are starting to look at the holistic approach and different things of that nature. But, a pill isn't going to solve our problems. It's hard work at the end of the day. So
we already have everything, man. Here's the thing, dude, is that most cancer is caused by anger.
Yeah.
Right? Angry people. Our minds and our bodies are connected.
Yeah.
It is all one. It's a functioning machine. Yeah. Right? So when you're fucking angry all the time, when you're negative all the time, you are literally causing disease on your body, dude.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And it's the shit that you're eating. Our food is illegal in other countries.
Yes.
All the red dye and all the other shit that's in our food. Right? And but the funny thing is you go have this conversation with the normal people, they think you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They think you're a fucking liberal or whatever it is, you know? And it's fucking wild. I will not go to McDonald's, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting, bro.
Yeah.
So what we're putting in our body, what we're eating, what we're speaking, what we're listening to, everything is a part. We are a functioning machine, like a vehicle or whatever you want to call it. It is affecting our lives, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't, but you can't. There's like a diversion from people that think like us and then people that are still in the matrix.
Yeah.
If you call it, right? You're still in the fucking matrix. So how? Tell our listeners, bro, we're living like that. How do we get out of the matrix?
So
what do we fucking do?
So the first thing to get out of the matrix is to start with your health, in my mind, because you start eating clean food, you get rid of the glyphosates, you get rid of the dyes, you get rid of the processed sugars, you start freeing up brain fog and mental real estate in your mind, and you're going to literally start thinking differently, going all organic and eating clean, getting healthy. God designed our bodies in such a miraculous way that we have hormones, dopamine, serotonin, our pineal glands. They get calcified if we start using too much fluoride. We start putting too much toxins. You start calcifying literally your connection to the creator. Like, how do we get more spiritual? Get healthy. This is like the greatest Buddhists in the world, yogis. The first thing they do is they talk about get your body clean, and fasting is incredible. So after you get your body clean, how do we pursue changing our lives from there? Let's take a look at our relationships. Our relationships are so fundamental for our overall success because one toxic relationship can suck up all your mental real estate. So you took care of taking care of yourself. You got rid of all those shitty people that were completely annihilating your self-esteem, your self-worth. Well, that's a huge step right there. And then if you're somebody who hates their job and hates their lives, you can't stop thinking, I want to get a better job. You have to take small, bite-sized steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So how do we get a new job? Well, let's take a look at our resume. A lot of people think, well, I don't have the work experience. Most people that have incredible jobs, a lot of them, myself included, when I had good jobs, I lied on my resume. Yeah. I just embellished. You embellish. Or now, if you're so, it's not my resume, it's not the problem. I don't know anybody. Well, start going to yacht clubs. You can pay for yearly memberships, like $1,500 a year. Start making great connections. Join a fraternity. I joined a Masonic fraternity. I'm a Freemason. Meet a lot of guys there. And a lot of the guys there incidentally work with each other at the same work because they got their jobs knowing themselves. So like you said, surround yourselves with better people. So you got yourself healthy, you cut out toxic relationships. Now you're starting to surround yourself with better people who can definitely enhance the type of job you have. Now, when you go into a new relationship, you want to go into with a filthy intention, like, I want to meet you so you can get a job, but it happens organically. Yeah. It happens, people just want to help you just by being your friend. It's incredible that way. Now we've changed our health, we've changed our relationships. And the next step beyond there is really up to you. What are you passionate about? A lot of people think, well, I want to do a work that's something in my passion. Well, let me ask you this. Are you more passionate about working something every day in your passion, or just doing whatever the hell you want because you have enough money? So a lot of people are stuck on, I need to be doing what I'm passionate about. Get the money thing figured out first, and then focus and let your passions flourish. Now, if your passions are underwater basket weaving, how much money do you think that's going to make you? If your passions are making beaded bracelets and necklaces, yes, that might make you a lot of money. But you can't say, well, I'm going to start a little shop and see what happens. Get on TikTok, get on Instagram, become a force to be reckoned with and an influencer. And then what happens? People might buy your shitty bracelets. People might buy your shitty baskets, but don't think you're just going to create the best basket in the world and think everyone's going to line up and start buying it. But so let's keep our passions in check. And yes, we do want to keep those things realistic, but at the end of the day, we do want to have a quality of life. And that does start, the common denominator there is money.
Yeah. I totally agree. And my business, my life, this podcast, everything. So people always say to me, must be nice to have all this free time. But I strategically planned my life around my self-development.
Yeah.
So I did that first. Right? So my business to start, everything that I've done has been built on a basis of my self-development first. And the more I work on myself, the more money I've made. Imagine fucking that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the better I become, the better things I attract into my life, and the better, more clear decisions I make. Right? Because if we base something off of just, okay, I want to make money, right? Do you know how many people stay in the same shitty job their whole fucking lives and they're miserable because they base it off that? So again, we go back to balance, right? But again, I didn't go start this podcast and be broke. I started my business first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have an income, so now I can work on my podcast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So money is a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like money doesn't buy you happiness, but you can't be fucking happy if you're stressed out in the bills. That's one of the number one causes of divorce and arguments in relationships is finances.
Yes.
Right? So, and all these girls, brother, like, oh, I don't care what money he made. You know what I mean? Well, you're a fucking dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to be fucking broke all your life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be a gold digger, dude, but there's all these girls like, oh, I don't care about what money. Yeah. And then you got a fucking loser again. Usually those are codependent women that do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? They want somebody down, so that they can control them and shit.
Yeah.
But absolutely, dude. I think it definitely takes a balance and
yeah. And as I've gone through my life, and I've coined this term, the law of familiarity, as I've gone throughout my life, I've realized that people don't usually date $10,000 up or $10,000 below their own tax bracket that they're born into. If you look at a lot of our relationships, they stem from the high schools we went to, the middle schools, or the colleges eventually we went to. And incidentally, right, the colleges we go to typically dictate if you were able to get a grant, which is like less than 1%, or maybe it's more, don't quote me on that, but it's typically how much money did your parents have to send you to that school or that high school? And then you're just building relationships when that same tax bracket you are. So if you want to break through the glass ceiling, you were born into poverty, you're going to have to really, really try and fight your own programming. You are programmed to do what's familiar around you. It's been proven that in less than a quarter second, we're instantly making a judgment about something or someone when it first comes into our vision. What does that mean? You may think you're consciously making an opinion, but no, your brain is making an opinion based on the patterns that have been established over your entire fucking life. So you're going to have to exercise a tremendous amount of willpower if you want to change the surroundings you're born into. So if you're saying, well, how do I do that? Well, you have to come up with a plan, and you're going to have to consciously exert a shitload of willpower behind it to make it happen. Yes, you're at a disadvantage. Yes, you were not given the same hand that someone else was dealt, but at the same time, use that to your advantage. Find something that drives you. For me, I'm motivated by bad things happening to me. I'm motivated by pain. That's a huge motivator for me. So when I think about why am I going to do this, I'm motivated by, oh my God, what's going to happen if I don't? Some people are motivated by reward. Understand how you work. Are you motivated by pain? Or are you motivated by reward? And start leveraging those things against yourself to make yourselves do the steps. The other thing, if you look at every single entrepreneur, every single successful person, one of the common denominators they have is a sense of vision, seeing the future and believing in it. You cannot be one of these people that needs instant success right away. Now, obviously, if you're failing miserably and it's not working, you adjust and pivot. but you can't be somebody that, needs instant success. Well, that didn't work, so I quit that. Like, it's going to get really fucking hard, and you're going to have to try really fucking hard, and you're going to have to really want it. And you're going to have that vision in your mind. Like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. And you're going to fight to your last breath to lose that weight. You're going to fight to your last breath to get that really pretty girl you really want, or maybe a handsome dude that you have your eye on, but make a plan to get there and then exercise it and try really hard. And I think that's the other thing. People think, well, I'm just going to make these, I'm going to watch these videos, and I'm going to read this book, and it's all going to be, the way is going to be opened up toward me. Like, even ask yourself, if the perfect blueprint was put right in front of you and I gave you a step-by-step example on what to do, would you actually do it? So a lot of times the way is already there. It's our willpower that needs to be exercised.
The thing is too, as well, with that, with following people, with being a follower of people, is that we're all so unique. So whatever works for us, I don't know how you do what you do. Only you do in your mind works how you fucking do it, right? So I could read all the books I want, watch all the fucking podcasts I want, but without no action, there is no fucking results.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what else was I gonna say, dude? But yeah, so what you're talking about is subconscious mind, and that's something that I've been studying, for the past 4 years, is reprogram the subconscious mind. And so I just wrote a whole program for it that I can teach now, and I'm bringing it to my men's group this evening. And so my process of that is recreating who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I stopped fucking watching TV. I started reading books. I started meditating. I had to retrain myself what I thought about money, what I did with fucking money, personal relationships, everything, right? Completely started. And it just talks about the steps that we talked about here today. First, cutting out all negative people out of your life, right? That's the first thing. It don't matter if it's your brother, your mother, your father, family, closest friends. I cut everybody else out, dude, right? And I started reading these fucking books, and I started recreating who I am. No more positive or no more negative conversations. Because what you speak is creating your fucking reality. If I'm watching the news in the morning, right, all this negative shit, then I'm going to talking shit about the gas prices and about the fucking president and all those things. That's creating my fucking reality, right? And people don't understand that. The conversations they're fucking having, the shit they're speaking, the things they're listening to, the things they're eating are all creating their current reality, right? And I think that you have to have the fucking willingness to say that's enough, dude.
Yes.
But also the belief system that you can change.
Yes.
Because if you don't believe you can fucking change, belief is everything, bro. The only difference between me and you and the fucking billionaire, how many dumbass rich people do you know out there, or you've seen on fucking line, right?
Yeah.
The difference is that they believe they could.
Yeah.
And we don't. That's the only fucking difference.
Yeah. 1,000%. A lot of time it is 100% belief system. And then sometimes you'll have, rich people that are born into, a shitload of money or anything of that nature. But the funny thing is a lot of people that you see weren't born into it. They were self-made. A lot of the guys on Shark Tank, and I'm sure you guys can name a couple yourselves. It was a conscious will and straight up willpower of wanting to get it done. Yeah.
But yeah, they're the one that were born into it, they weren't just born into their money, their subconscious mind was born into it as well.
Right.
Because that's what their surroundings, like we talked about before. Right. So how do we start changing that? Again, reprogram the subconscious mind. So let's say that I have a problem with confidence, right? So I start doing some confident things. And then I start winning. It's like seeing those small wins, right? To change your belief system of yourself is by starting to do something different.
1,000%.
Right? And then, okay, let's say it's hitting on women, and I've always been, I don't have confidence, right? And so I go hit on one fat chick, bro, you know what I mean? Or whatever, whatever you want. And then I start seeing that win, and you start seeing those wins. So that's how you start recreating your belief system, by focusing on your wins as well and not focusing on your losses.
Yeah.
So it's an overall, it's a full body, mind, spirit thing, man.
Yeah. And you may have remembered, 12 years ago, I had really bad OCD, and I was washing my hands. I was taking like 5 showers a day. And when I was 15, my mom convinced me, she took me to a psychiatrist. I was diagnosed with anxiety, panic disorder. They got me on Lexapro for 2 years, and it didn't help. And when I came off Lexapro, I was all messed up. and my OCD just got way, way worse. And I said, I'm not going back on medication. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that. I had a bad experience with it. So every single day I took little baby steps. I started taking one last shower, one less shower a day. I started, opening doors without paper towels and just doing stuff. And I incrementally just, almost 100% cured myself. Now I wash my hands a little bit more than the average person, but I'm able to shake hands. I'm able to eat with my hands. I'm able to, have a completely normal life, because I wouldn't believe the labels they put on me. And, me and my twin brother, they said we had ADD. We had a learning deficiency. There was even a specialist that came into my school and sat in an office for an entire week doing an IQ test on me because they thought I might have low IQ. They're trying to figure out what was wrong. And plus I had a lot of truancy. I didn't want to show up. And it wasn't because I was stupid, because I just wasn't interested. Mm-hmm. And they put all these labels on you, and they put a lot of labels on me. And what if I would have believed, I have ADD, I have anxiety, and I have a panic disorder. If
You'd
I would
be stuck in their trap the rest of your life,
I would have been a victim. But
I
didn't.
Have been a victim.
I'm not going to be a slave to those labels, and I don't even recognize those labels, because that's a lie from modern society. Now there are some people that are diagnosed schizophrenics. If you're hearing stuff, and people seeing stuff, okay, take your fucking mood stabilizers, but don't let them believe anybody can go to the psychiatrist and get a label slapped onto them, take drugs, and make an excuse for having a shitty life. It's not an excuse. It is not an excuse for you to have a shitty life because you have less dopamine in your brain. What do you want to do to increase your dopamine? Go to the gym, start eating right. That will skyrocket your dopamine right there. Get off the pills, get off the drugs, and get out into the gym and start working out, start taking care of yourself, and start change in your belief system. I am a healthy person. I am a confident person. I am a healthy person, and I am a confident person. Believe these things in your mind. And like you said, that's the first step to change. But again, the programming, it's really, really difficult because your subconscious mind is going to be trying to drag you back. It's going to try to drag you down, but it's going to take on average about 90 days, 3 months, like you said, to change that programming. So you do whatever you have to do. And after 90 days, it's going to get a hell of a lot easier.
But see, once you've watched this episode, you have no excuses anymore.
Yeah.
Once you have the knowledge, right? Because some people don't know.
Right.
They just don't know. They're so used to it. One person could watch this podcast and they have all the fun, and they're like, oh yeah, that clicks. That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, knowledge is power, man. So it's just not knowing, a lot of people. And another thing is that you have to go inside and look at yourself. And see, people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They don't want to look at themselves. They want to ignore it and they want to push it back.
Yeah.
But once you've gone inside and you've looked at yourself, once your brain acknowledges these things, there's no fucking turning back.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
But you got to have the balls. You got to have the fucking balls to do this shit, dude.
Yeah.
You got to have had enough. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of my life. I'm sick of the way I fucking look, and take the fucking first step, man. And I'm telling you, it's all about the wins, dude. One little win, oh, wait, I am this guy. I am this confident guy. I can fucking do this. Because see, we don't trust ourselves. So you got to build trust with yourself, because you've always let yourself down. You've always said you're going to do something and you're not going to fucking do it. So being impeccable with your word is a big part of it. Doing what you say you're going to do as a man as well with other people, but with yourself. Stop worrying about other fucking people. Worry about yourself. Build trust in yourself. And then you could rebuild yourself. But if you don't trust your own damn self, then how the fuck, you know what I mean? How the fuck are you going to get through this world, man?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. And you may look in your mirror like, well, I'm not this person. I don't want to fake it. I don't want to be a liar. And you're not lying. You're reprogramming yourself.
Yeah.
Because how are you you have to, so fake it till you make it. And I think that's huge. Like one of the best first jobs I ever got was at realtor.com doing sales and marketing. And I'll never forget, I lied on my resume, lied to get the interview. Then I sat in the interview room with the director of sales, Bill Spurry, and he totally looked at this. He's like, Connor, like, this is bullshit. And I said, Bill, hold on. I said, and I started talking really, really quickly, and I started just totally selling myself. And then I ended with, I will clean the toilets here, please. Just let me, please. You won't be disappointed. I won't let you down. And he said, okay, Connor, I'm gonna take a chance. And I was the youngest person out of 350 people in that building on the sales floor at realtor.com. And a lot of people think that no means no. It doesn't mean no. A lot of times everything is a negotiation, and a lot of people don't think that. Just because your boss says no, it doesn't mean no. Sit there and talk to him. He's a human. He's a person just like you and me. You can talk to him, have a conversation just like your mom or your dad. He or she, a woman can also be a boss. You can sit and have an intellectual conversation with another. This person has emotions. This person has feelings. And that's the other thing I went half my life going through, saying, okay, I guess he said no. Oh, I guess that door's closed. It's like, no. You have to push. And what did we learn in sales? And over the last decade of being in sales, you learn that no does not mean no. 9 times out of 10, it certainly doesn't. It just means that there's a door you didn't quite open in their mind. Mm-hmm. And Jordan, Wolf of Wall Street, Belfort, he talks about this in his straight line persuasion. You continue to push and push and push until eventually they say yes. And it's not because you're coercing them or you're forcing them, because there's something that you didn't speak to their subconscious or their conscious brain about that was just not happening for them. So that's the other thing, people skills. I think a lot of people sleep on that. So yeah, having a healthy social life and having a wealthy monetarily life is having good social skills, being able to speak to another human and win their favor. And how do you get good people skills? Well, get out there and talk to people and have those forced conversations. Like when you're going to church, do you just go to church and do you walk out the door and not have a conversation? And maybe you don't go to church, but any interaction where you have the opportunity to be social, practice your social skills. Trust me, it happens. We're all wired to be social. It's in our own anatomy. Yeah. It's in our biology, and we all have the skill to be social. And when you can have the ability to win somebody's favor and win somebody's ear, right there, that can open all kinds of doors in your life you may never have known. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, no doesn't mean no. Now, if you're trying to have sex with a girl and she says no,
that means no.
No, that means no.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what I mean, guys. But I'm saying, but a lot of times it doesn't mean no. Did she just say no? Then But
and here's the thing: most of the time, sociably, and when you're trying to, is just being honest with people, dude.
Yeah,
we're not talking about necessarily manipulating people, but just being honest. I get vulnerable with people, man, and and then they know they can trust me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so vulnerability is a big deal. But absolutely, but if you're just sitting in your house staring at your phone, you don't take any action. And you to go, I'm socially awkward because you ain't fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just, you talk to one person and you'd start becoming sociable. You start opening up, you start becoming comfortable, but you just have to get over that little, you just gotta take the first fucking step, dude.
Yeah. And manipulation 100% is not okay. Manipulating somebody is taking advantage of them for your own personal gain. But if you know it's in the best interest of this person, we have a duty to convince them of something if it's the benefit of yourself and them. Now, we definitely don't want to use your powers of persuasion to be manipulative, but I think going through life with a sense of, I want this, so I'm going to go and take it. And sometimes we have to present the best versions of ourselves. And that's why you could almost say, I put on a suit to a job interview. Well, that was manipulative. Now they think that you're this professional person, and maybe you're not really that professional person, but the suit gives the allure of the professionalism. So what are you doing? You're opening a subconscious doorway for them to see the best version of you, so they give you that conversation. So that's another thing we need to look at, like your wardrobe. How do you present yourself? Do people want to give you a conversation? Do people want to give you a chance? Sometimes $150 can be life-changing, because there's a social experiment. I did this class. All of Verizon's and AT&T employees did this course. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a whole week. We sit with the instructor, and one of the social experiments they have us do in Bellflower in Los Angeles is go out on the street dressed like shit and see how people treat you. And then they have us wear a suit, and then they have us do the same thing, and then we have to give feedback. And it's crazy the type of results we get. Yes, you're being judged on how you dress. Yes, you're being judged on how you look at all times. And no, that's, don't get upset about that. But even me, when I see somebody, or even think about yourself, when you see somebody wearing a suit, it look really, really nice. That person makes you feel more safe and confident. So I believe, how we dress speaks the loads about us, and just changing how we dress can change our self-esteem, because people start treating us differently, and all of a sudden we think like, life isn't so bad.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right on. Good shit, man. Well, I think that's about an episode here. I really appreciate your appreciate your time. This is great, man. Yeah. This is awesome. Everybody follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Later.
See ya.